All right, guys, how we doing? So here we are on Friday, May 10th, and we're going to take a look at Bitcoin. Pretty interesting, right? So I figured I'd do it on Bitstamp here. Seems to be neutral exchange here. We've used it before here. I've been using this recently. Right? We're using Bitfinex for a while, but with all their mess going on here, I'll probably stay on Bitstamp for a while. Now, so of course here, right? I guess this is just fairly good timing for this video. So dominant swing high to low. We've just tagged the golden zone. Well, maybe a tick off of it. Yeah. So right. So you guys have seen my count many times here. So 1, 2. We're in the 3, anticipating the 4. It's. Right. So what's interesting here, so now we're sitting here at the golden zone. And so you look, oh, shit, man, how is that going to keep going? So if we break that, does that mean we're off to the races? Well, remember, we gotta keep in mind, you got to go back a pivot just to see where you are. Well, note here, if I go back a pivot, now where am I? Now I'm right at the 50. So, and then even from there, you'll have to go back yet again and then yet again. So a lot of work to do to get done with this. Or, I shouldn't say that. There's lots of resistance ahead, and at some point here, the odds would suggest that if we're going to finish this impulse, and again, I don't know that it's here, but certainly it's not an unreasonable place to anticipate it. This is what's going to tell the tale for Bitcoin. Do we get a 4 or 5? Well, the 4 is. Nothing's inevitable, but it's probable. So, do we get a 4 or do we get this, right? And then that's a whole nother ball game, right? So then, of course, bears, realize what they're seeing here, which is A, B, C, and then we're going to start in, we going back down there? I certainly don't think so, but is it possible? Of course. So as we look here, all the subdivision is quite good here. Now it can't be any surprise to anyone here that we're running into some resistance here. Now what note here, right? So we wicked all of these off along the way. All of just the prior pivots, prior support, and every time we came to one, it looked like, oh shit, that's going to be it. And we got through. Oh, that's what. We're at the very last one, right? Right, and note where all the volume is. Right, so granted, this is visible range, but you see my point here. So as we come up to this, really the last spot before you have the potential. Now, if we can get through here, we've got less resistance till we get up to here, which would be the 786. But again, you can't anticipate. You just got to respond to what the market shows you. So if we get through here, you got to remember, you got to go back a pivot. And now we look here and say, well, okay, if we do get through. We're not likely to just go straight. Shit, the way it's going, we could. If we do get through, right? So this is where the median lines can be a nice guide. So if we get through, we could tag the median line. That certainly wouldn't be unusual. In fact, I'm anticipating it. So if anything, I'd be surprised if we didn't. And in fact, if we don't get the median line, that's a sign of weakness, right? So in fact, you guys saw I had to dial in. I used the magnet tool to get right on these because I was a little sloppy the first time I drew it and it looked like we had tagged it. But when I really dialed in on these, and this pivot is just a couple of ticks lower than this one. So if you get on those 3, we are not to the median line yet. Now remember, trading principle number 4, a failure to make the median line sets up a move equal to or greater than the move that failed to get there. Just a word of caution, right? It's not going to be a straight line to 20K at some point here. Now there's lots of evidence here. Everybody's talking about it, right? It was very obvious to spot here. We've got divergence, right? This was our peak in this move. So it's a pretty much of a textbook Elliott count coming on. So we got to look and say, okay, well, all right. So if we're done, or if we're all right, so we'll come back here on the assumption, right? I wouldn't assume anything other than right now I'm at a golden zone. If I break it, now I'm going to go back one. But until broken, there's no reason to assume that we're going to break it. We know software is going to kick in there, right? Now, again, just because there's an algorithm kicks in there doesn't mean it can't be broken. So let's go from now here I'm on the daily. Let's go down. Let's try the 2 hour. See how we look here. So if we look into the subdivision, the 1-2 is a little tricky because it's just there's not much there to work with. That said, it's relatively technical. So all we're trying to do is figure out, do we have the ingredients here for a completed fifth? So I just don't have much in the way of a 1, but I get a decent 3. So if I'm kind of just trying to take a guesstimate as to where we might be going, if I get on this, well, note what I get here. Here's the 2, 6, 1, 8, which is an extreme, right? It's a common relationship for a third, but it's an extreme to get that far off of a 1, 2. Of course, it happens, right? In fact, this move in Bitcoin is beyond the 2, 6, 1, 8 relative to the larger degree, which I'll show you in a second. But if we're in here digging, going, do I have it? Well, the 2, 6, 1, 8 for the 3 sets up this count. I know this is hard to see here, but it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we've got this kicker in the 5. Now, are we done here? Well, just for the sake of trying to get a count here to make this clear, if this is solid and this holds that we've got the 1, 2, 3, well, here's our 4, get a little A, B, C in the 4. Well, this sure looks like a 1, 2. So we would do this, just the exact same thing. So here's the, get right on there, the proposed start of the 1, pivot from the 2. All right, well, here, so interestingly, here's our high probability zone right here for our third, but that's not much of a 4, is it? So let's go to the hourly, see if it's any better. Really, it's not going to be dramatic, but if we look here, so potentially 3. So let's get some labels on that. So if this is 1, 2, and if that's 3, and we're just going to have this little 4, well, I'm expecting a little more, some more in that 5. Doesn't look like we're done. So here's the 65. That would cap the whole thing. We'd be approaching the median line here. So are we going to get there? Oh shit, right? So there's no way to know here. But note here now, as I come down to the hourly, it's not as, you don't see the divergence in the same way that you do. Yes, we have some divergence. Yes, this pivot is higher here. Oh, what do I want? I want this one. So if I draw it across, yeah, we have some divergence here. It's not dramatic, but you can see the same thing in the RSI. So are we done? Well, that's not much of a 4. So relative to the 1, 2, the 4 doesn't look solid enough here. Yeah, we're in the high probability zone, but we got to get an impulse in there. So boy, it doesn't look like it's there. So I'm more inclined to think the 3 is still going in here. So I'd have to go 1, 2. Oh, Jesus, boy, you got very little to work with there. So even, let's try the 30-minute. Can you even get into it there? I usually don't. So that's all you'd have there. So you'd have to do it. Now let's get this off here so you guys can see it. So you'd have to go do it this way. This is the only thing you get for a retracement. You get this right here. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 looks like that's the 3 at that degree, 4, 5. So let me lower that here so we don't get lost. Okay, so let's go put it in green. Okay, so 1, 2. Well, how do we look for the 2? It's not much of a 2, right? It's just a straight shot down. We don't even make the 38. There's no other, that's the deepest retracement I get. So right now, that's all I got to work with for a potential 2. So meaning that's 1, 2. Well, this has to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 3 at this degree. So all of this looks like it still is not done. 3, 4, 5 of the 3. All right, so at this degree, we'd be looking for 1, 2, 3 going in. Let's check that. So if this is my 1 at this degree, I know it's not much of a 2. High probability zone for a 3 right there. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 3. So it's solid. Let's go up a degree here. Let's go micro. Okay, so 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. All right, anticipating the 4. Sure doesn't look like we're done yet. All right, I mean, we don't know. It's just a probability play. So we look like we've got all of the ingredients here for this to be approaching topping, right? We're right in the pocket. We've got all that divergence that we're talking about here. You see it's more dramatic here, obviously, right? So we can see it here as we've come down to the 30-minute. So 1, 2, 3. Well, we're anticipating the 4 somewhere around here. We got a little low volume node here. That right to the edge of that for the 38 would make sense. Guess I got to get this up a degree. Let's go to subminuet. Okay, so 1, 2. Still looking for the 3 at that degree. All right, so here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This has to go up a degree. Let's go to minuet. Oh, pardon me. Let's go to, there we go. And let's go to blue so we don't lose our place. Okay, so this would be 1, 2, 3, 4. We're still looking for that 5 up here. We're still looking for that 5 up here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That 4 is still over here. So I know this is hard to see, guys. Let me get this off. Okay, so let's get that off. Let's get that off. Okay, let's put the whole thing back together. So this is all just within the 5th, right? You can see that complete. So 1, here's the 4. 1, let's see if I can help you with this. Okay, so on this degree, we're trying to get 1, 2, 3, 4. We're still looking for 5 here. All right, so 1, 2, 3, here's my 4 here, 1, 2, I'm still in the 3rd of the 5th. So if this is going to hold and this is going to stay as my 3rd, then I've got it, well, yeah, I've got an extension already. Let's see, let's just take the length of the 3rd, projected from the 4. Yeah, I'm already through 100%, so I've got an extension in the 5th. And it looks like there could be substantially more here. So this little degree, we're trying to finish right here. Okay, so that would be the 3 at this degree, then the 4, then the 5. Okay, that would complete this 5. Let's take that up a degree. Let's go down. Here we'll go to, let's put that in yellow so we don't lose track. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is this, and that all goes over. Okay, so now let's go back to that 2 hours, see if we can make this make sense. All right, it's waves within waves within waves. So 1, 2, 3, 4, we're still looking for this 5 here of this degree. All right, so note how all this is starting to line up with the median line. So 1, 2, 3, 4, still don't have this done yet. I'm still looking for this 3 at the lower degree. So, oh shit, I know this is hard to follow. So you're just gonna have to do it on your chart. Right? And as you work through it, right? So members, you won't struggle with this. It's just, so we can look here. So we can use this 5612. Right? That was the high probability zone for our 3rd relative to this 1, 2. So we get, that was the 2, 6, 1, 8. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're just working through the subdivision here. Now, of course, at any time we could have a failure here, but there's no reason to anticipate it until we see one of these waves break down. So you can't ignore them. So you gotta just kind of lay them out and wait for one to complete or one to fail. As I said, right now there's no reason to assume we're gonna fail until we fail. So at this point, we're still trying to get the 3rd here at the lower degree. I know that's really hard to see. Is that making it any better? Let me open it up here. Okay. This is what we're trying to get. This is really the one we're after, is this 5 here. So let me, if I pull this out here, put it up over here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, big extension in the 5. But unless we're going to have to recount it, and would we even have enough? Yeah, we might be able to. Maybe we're overcomplicating. So this is just the process as you work through where the. I'm gonna take that off for a second. So here's a contender, because it looks like I might be able to finish that. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is an alternate. We could just consider as a possibility. So that could. It feels like maybe I can get a. Well, so. Unless I play that as a trunk, no, an expanded flat, which that could be. It wouldn't matter here. So if we go up and this completes the 5 here at this degree, right? So let's look at it here. So from the 2, to, where's your 3? So I'd look here, see if I get any help. All right, so that's kind of interesting. So we get this. So that has me thinking perhaps more here. We do get an expanded flat. So there's our 4 algo target to the tick. So again, you don't, am I certain? No, but that's certainly a clue. So 1, 2. Now I'm still in the 3 here. Could be this will just simplify, right? If I can, I want to simplify. So 4, looking for the 5 up here. So this, okay, good. So this could be of the 4. Now remember that here's the dominant 4 at the next degree. We're still trying to get the 5 at that degree. So 1, 2, 3, 4. If I allow for that, that means I've got to allow for a shallow second, very skinny second. It's a tough one, right? What do you pick? Right? It's not any better over here. Anything that if you're trying to work on the idea that we've completed something here, which is not unreasonable, that we completed something here. There's no retracement to give you anything beyond a 38, no matter what you use, whether you're using this or this or this. They're all very shallow as would relate to a completed impulse into a 2. So it just becomes a process of what looks like the best fit. So when this 5, so I always think it's better if I can complete them a little closer together, so if I can get this to be done here, I like that symmetry here. Come on, I like that much better than if I put this back on here and I'm doing this, right? Which is kind of where we were going, trying to get every little squiggle of it, right? That we were looking towards something like that. So even though I've got this shallow 2, I'd rather this complete. I think the odds play is better here to have this complete with something like this here. So this is done. I do have not much, but I get a little corrective ABC here. And now I'm still trying to finish this 3, 4, 5. So then I come back to, well, let's measure it. Length of the 1 from the 2. And we're right back to, is the 3 in? Are we done here? No way to know, right? We're getting very shallow retracement. So maybe you can make that the 1, 2, and then 1, 2. Looks like we're still in the 3, 4, 5. So all of that still looks like it's still going. Now, at some point here, there's going to be a breakdown here, and ideally it would be when we hit the median line, so the whole thing would complete. So the 4 into the 5, we'd get all of it completed, but we can't. I wouldn't assume that must happen. Certainly, there's nothing suggesting that it must happen. But right now, as I said, you want to trade it until it fails. So I certainly wouldn't be adding if you're not already long. Let's say it that way. Not a great spot to be adding, right? So if you didn't get long or you were a bear through this, well, okay, so you're wrong, right? You missed the trade. Now, shit, right? I mean, I know bears are gonna be like, fuck you, you don't know, this could come down. We're going to 2,000, right? I see all the comments, but right now, so could this still be an ABC and we're gonna go down? Yeah, of course, right? Still could be. If you're in crypto and you're hoping for that, I don't understand your thinking, right? So the only thing that I can come up with is that you're pissed because you didn't think it was an impulse, and now you don't want to be proven so damn wrong, right? So I'm not here to say, oh, look at me, I was right. I mean, I'm never about that. But if you're still leaning into the ABC idea, it's getting pretty thin, right, to make that argument. As we just go beyond, so here's what I wanted to show you. So here's the 1, there's the 2, right? So a lot of us were watching this last night as we hit that 2618. We got a little pause there. It looked like maybe we're going to stall there, but we've just blown right through it, and now we're up to really the last pivot. Let's see what I'm using here. One of the very last pivots of prior support. I think I have to go way over left. Yeah, here it is. This is the one we're just approaching. It's really the last one of any significance before we're in the clear on those kind of resistance points. Now, it doesn't have to be to the tick. It's kind of interesting that we hit it to the tick here. But we're through the 2618. So we are clearly extended relative to this being the 3 relative to that 1, 2. We are clearly extended here. So thus, I think all of us are kind of going, at some point, there's likely to be some retracement, some profit taking, but it's just there's been very little, right? See, I can barely get a 1-2 in there. It's just not showing up yet. So again, you come back out to the 4 hour and you go, well, shit, man, there's definitely some divergence here that we're all looking at. Yet, this, just because we have divergence here, this can easily blow right through that. I've seen it many times, right? It just keeps going, and then you keep going. Oh, well, it's still kind of divergence. Well, it's still. Oh, now it's a double top. Right. So if you start with that, if you were basing a trade around the idea that this was divergence and it was going to hold, you're anticipating this to go at the very least back to zero. So don't rationalize if you're on the wrong side of this. Careful about, you're going to do what you're going to do, but just be careful, because I've made these mistakes, guys. All right. So we all make mistakes, right? There are no perfect traders. We all make mistakes. The idea is not to repeat them. I don't know that there's a mistake I haven't made. So the value that I can offer to you is, so yeah, you probably have to learn it yourself, but maybe you have to do it fewer times if you hear it from someone who's been doing this for 20 plus years. I've done it. I've been that guy going, you know what? Maybe I need to go out to the 8 hour. I can see some better divergence there. It's just, you're rationalizing yourself. The first time you start that process of rationalization, that's the mistake. And as I remind you, market has an unbelievable capacity to punish mistakes. So if you were short off of the idea that all of this resistance was gonna stall, we were just gonna come up here and this was gonna be the Great Wall, and we were just gonna crater off of it, well, you're pretty much at your last stand right here. So what's trading 101? The trend is your friend. Why do you want to fight this trend? Don't understand the thinking there. So, all the subdivisions there. There were plenty of places along the way where if this was going to fail, it was all teed up to do it. That could be the high, right? It's certainly possible. I'm not saying it couldn't be. But are you really, are you rooting for that? I'm going to guess not. I'm going to get most people we're going to sit here, and if you're not already in it, we'll be patiently waiting. That's my advice. We're patiently waiting for that 4 to give me the 5. And if I get that, then I can just look all the way back here and say, well, shit. I mean, how many times did I show you the confluence at 3,200? I mean, it was just stacked. So you didn't you didn't have to know a damn thing about what was going on in Bitcoin, other than you had just a massive stack of technical confluence at 3,200, and there's the result, right? So, an optimist or a bull, a crypto bull, all the way. This has been 1-2 for me the whole way. Did I know I was right? Of course not. Right, but I sure wanted it to be an impulse. I don't know that it's going to be an impulse yet, because if it does that, right, game over, right? Does that seem likely here that we're going to do that? We're going to turn this into some sort of a diagonal and we're going to lose this impulsive structure? Again, it's possible, right? But does that seem likely? Remember we did a couple of videos, we talked about the big hole over here. So if we're going to come down to this 4, you certainly want to be watching for this wall of support. That's what you're anticipating here. Some sort of a retrace here would bring us down here to the 38. We'd come back to this area where we can identify the support from all the trading that took place here. So how would that look? If this, and again, I think I just drew this here, from the 2, or I don't know, as we're sitting here breaching that pivot right as I speak. But here's the 38, right? So it all lines up just perfectly. Doesn't mean that we couldn't break it, but why, if you're in crypto, would you not take that trade? For the life of me, I don't understand anyone's thinking there. Why you wouldn't take that, bear or not? Why would you not take that trade? I mean, I'm not saying don't put a stop on it, but it baffles me is why anyone wouldn't take that. I don't understand it. But it's not my job to understand what bears are thinking. I'm just telling you what we're seeing here. The case is pretty strong that this is an impulse that's still rolling. All right, now we tagged here. It's interesting, right? We're tagging, we're fighting with that last pivot there. What are we hitting there? 6,400. Right, remember, the assumption here is that we're not done with the whole thing. So really, I'm looking for the 3-4 up here. All right, so I'm anticipating we're going to get it here. So where's the 38 now? The 38 comes over here. All right, as we're dealing with that last little pivot, and the the market wants to get to that median line. Here's where it'll be absolutely perfect. So we let's pull back out one last time here, and then we'll wrap up. How am I doing here? 25 minutes. Oops, I want this over here. So let's go to that secondary pivot just to see where that lines up. Is it? Ah, fuck. Okay, so this is the golden zone. This is the secondary. Get it right here. 3, 4. Maybe we don't get it. All right. So look where the algo target would be. Right. So if we don't get the 618 here, if we don't get this here, right, it may be that we're going to tag here, put in the 4, and we may not get up to some of this until later. Right. It's mighty close. So I would be a little concerned if we don't get there. Right. Again, it's just Andrew's trading principle number 4, failure to get there, sign of weakness. Right? It's hard to call this move from 3,200 weakness, but not getting there would be a bit of a clue. Right? Doesn't mean that we're going all the way down, but you want to see it tag it. Right? Definitely for a bull, we want to see that get tagged. It just a tag is all it takes. Right? Then maybe we get the 3, 4, 5 here. Maybe then we get this 4, and then this 5 gives us the 3 at that degree, and then we come down for the 4. And that, as far as I'm concerned, that is an absolute must take. If you're in crypto, well, let's just leave it at that. That's a must take in my book. All right, guys, that'll be enough for now. Okay, talk to you later.